Have you ever thought about how time doesn't make sense in the game? Well, I have. Quite often, in fact, since you get constantly reminded about it. Every time you go into a new zone, new time rules suddenly apply. It's enough wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey Doctor Who bullshit that you'll wind up killing Sleesacks with Bill and Ted and using a DeLorean and 1.21 gigawatts. Anytime Blizzard changes up zones, you get paradoxical problems. I used to be able to go and respec at the park inside Stormwind, but thanks to the time gods of Warcraft, the only designated safe zones for druids is a little shack by Stormwind Lake. The place is like a ghetto for all we social outcasts. The reason for this change is that Deathwing came about and fucked the park over, leaving only a crater and a big IOU sign in the destruction. Fair enough. But that was 5 years ago. It wasn't the only part of town Deathwing had time to fuck up, he also left some pretty heavy dents in the tower at the main gates. But we repaired the towers because, hey, presentation is everything. We've even had enough time to kill Deathwing and set up his shin as a monument to our victory. The king just hasn't deemed the park important enough to call the renovation team to fix it quite yet. In fact, several parts are still on fire. Which can only mean they must be actively maintaining its fresh destruction state like an eternal flame memorial. Here's how that conversation must have gone down.
My lord, we have repaired the damages at the front gate.
Very well, peasant. The Horde cannot be allowed to see us look weak. The might of Stormwind's gate shine yet again. Truly, a job well done.
What about the other damages?
Ah, you mean the park? Leave it be for now.
But, my lord, many were made homeless during the destruction. We can surely make new living quarters for those people in need.
Okay, look, Anduin's birthday is coming up, and I kinda promised him a flying pony. Those things don't come cheap.
But the park is still on fire, my lord.
Excellent! We will leave it as a reminder for the people, so we never forget that dreadful day. Just use whatever's money left in the budget for gasoline to keep those flames ablazing.
It's not just the land that's gone through Rocky Horror's time warp. All the zone changing starts messing with the NPCs too. First there's Fiona. Fiona's in my garrison herb garden fighting off vermin. So why is Fiona also in the Eastern Plagueland selling homemade cherry pie and ice cold milk? Obviously she must be nicking wines from my cellar and hired a doppelganger to be her alibi. Then there's Ronin. Everyone knows Ronin died at the arcane nuking of Theramore, which sits as a smoldering crater. Sometimes. Or did he? Several accounts mention Ronin still alive and well, yelling at people in Dalaran. Maybe being the brother-in-law of the Banshee Queens means never having to admit you're dead. Khadgar is super busy trying to out-magic Gul'dan back at his tower, but I know for a fact he's also standing in the middle of Stormwind with a beam of light on him, like the fucking Messiah. Just look at... Wait, where did he... I swear you guys, we'll... Damn it, see, this is what I'm talking about! Wait a minute. Ah, here you are now. Oh, I'm trying to keep an eye on you guys. It's just impossible, isn't it? But Hankshaw, I hear cry out. It's an MMO. Compromises such as these have to be made in order to secure the enjoyment of the player. Yes, you're right. I'm no fool. But that doesn't mean these situations are not fucking ridiculous. I can imagine it's highly confusing for a new player to understand that sometimes when they change zone, they change their place in time as well. Blizzard has to somehow merge old content with new content. Blizzard tries to address this with their little own Mrs. Fix-It, Zidormi. Players can talk to her at the entrance to Blasted Lands, and through some Bronze Dragon bullshit time magic, she swaps the zone back to its TBC state. This is a cute solution to the merging problem, but why can't Zidormi use her Bronze Dragon bullshit time magic over at, say, the Barrens or Eastern Plaguelands? Sure, the effects would only be cosmetic. They wouldn't add the same benefits as changing a portal in the zone to lead to two different fucking universes. But it's irritating when Blizzard decides that EPL is now the designated hood of the Death Knight crew. They have the tools in the game to make the player change this fact. They just outright don't give it to them. And even then, most players don't know Zidormi exists. Finding her by chance and talking to her at random seems to be the only real way to figure out what she even does. Blizzard just slapped her into the game, put her feet on the table and said, "Ah,
while we like to handhold players whenever possible, this is one of the aspects they will have to find out for themselves. They've got Google, they'll figure it out."
No, Blizzard, if we aren't aware that we have this option, we won't even start looking for it. Even with all that said, I don't think this would simply update the entire world to be on the same day of the calendar, because some things would simply no longer work. If they were to update Northrend to be time appropriate, the majority of the quest and storylines would no longer be relevant. Most of them go back to the plot of the Scourge fucked something up, now go unfuck it. Perhaps the best opinion would be to let the player choose their own time frame. Instead of having a Sidormi NPC, her mechanic could be moved to the HUD. But hey, it's Blizzard. If the subject isn't garrison updates or thing we can code in the time of a coffee break, we all know the suggestions are at the very bottom of Blizzard's shit to-do list, together with 2v2 balance and saving Gotham. In the meantime, I'm going to grab a bucket to try to fix the problem instead of being a part of it, since no one in Stormwind seems to be concerned about the potential fucking fire risk.